Sure.
What's the order?
I'm not aware. I don't know what order you guys done it previously.
I've usually ended it with the wrap up.
Okay. Cheryl, do you mind going first then?
Yeah, who's going to be second? Just for me to know.
Yeah, I can be second.
All right. What's your topic again, Serena?
Why lie?
Why lie?
Awesome. Okay. So the live stream's going. So Sean, you can play the ad, and then afterwards I'll hand it off to Cheryl.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you for attending the Vancouver Island Virtual Roadshow presented by the Connectra Society. This event is sponsored by Capital Daily and Pattison Media's various Nanaimo radio stations. As a reminder, this event is being streamed and recorded to the Disability Foundation YouTube channel. Feel free to turn off your camera if you are not comfortable being recorded. For some quick housekeeping rules, please mute yourself during the presentation unless called on or instructed by the presenter. To ask a question, you can either type it into the chat box or unmute yourself at the end of the presentation. During this event, we have automatic closed captioning available. Please go to the bottom of the Zoom meeting, click Live Transcript, and then Show Subtitles to turn them on. Before we begin, we'd like to take a quick moment to let you know how you can join an opinion research panel made specifically for British Columbians living with disabilities.
For 25 years, the Disability Foundation has been fostering meaningful experiences for Canadians with disabilities through outdoor recreation, social connectedness, innovative adaptive devices, and more. Today we are asking, how has the pandemic affected you? Help strengthen decision makers' understanding of your needs and experiences by joining an online opinion research panel consisting solely of people with disabilities and their caregivers. Make a difference in your community today. The Disability Foundation. Reimagine what is possible.
Awesome. And with that, we'll hand it off to Cheryl to talk a little bit more about the volunteering opportunities.
Thank you so much. So I'll be sharing my screen first. Okay, there we go. Welcome to the Disability Foundation. I am Cheryl Newman. I'm the Volunteer Management Coordinator. And today I'll be talking about volunteer opportunities. So for a little background, a little history, this is Sam Sullivan. Sam Sullivan is the founder of all of our organizations. Our roots were formed in Sam's personal journey. He had his skiing accident when he was 19 and he became quadriplegic. As Sam sought to empower his own personal journey to independence and freedom, this is how all of our organizations came about. So today, we have 7 organizations. Disability Foundation is the mother organization, and we have 6 affiliated societies. I will talk about the services, programs, and volunteer opportunities that we have. Our mission is to provide people with physical disabilities opportunities to enable their individual journeys, and our vision is to empower and inspire people to reimagine what is possible. So let's talk about our organizations right now who offer summer programs, and these are the BCMOS, or British Columbia Mobility Opportunity Society, Adaptive Sailing Association of BC, and Disabled Independent Gardeners Association. So to kickstart this presentation, let me show you a short video.
Cheryl, we're not getting any noise on the presentation. Cheryl.
So sorry about that. Okay. How do we do this?
You might have to stop sharing screen and then reshare when you click the green button at the bottom left-hand corner. Yes.
Okay, apologies about that. Let's start the
You might want to
again.
go full screen because we can see your desktop.
Share screen.
Oh,
You see it now?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. So here's the video with sound, hopefully.
Hike with Sam yesterday too? Yeah. A little bit more. How you doing, Eric? Good. All right.
I got a feeling and I'm gonna feel it out. It got me shaking up and moving around. From the birches to the blacktop, we want it all, we want it all. Give me all of it. Don't stop, don't quit. No, 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 not a little bit. Give me all of it. Don't stop, don't quit. No, 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 not a little bit. Give me all of it. Give me all of it. Give me all of it. Give me all of it.
So there we go. BCMOS have 5 programs right now. As if you have seen in the video, that was the hiking program. So that's the first program that BCMOS have. As I mentioned earlier, all of these organizations came about because of Sam's journey. Sam Sullivan wanted to enjoy the outdoor, and the first thing that he wanted to do was hiking. So our programs have destination hikes. For the past few years, we actually have destination hikes in 37 places in Vancouver. But for the past couple of years, we are just doing our hikes at the Pacific Spirit Park and Spanish Banks. So the second program of, for hiking, the volunteer opportunities that we have, as you have seen, is we use this trail rider. This trail rider is a specially designed wilderness access vehicle that we have. So for us to be able to use this trail rider, we need 2 volunteers. We call Sherpas, one at the back and the front. And so that's one volunteer opportunities that we have. We are also looking for volunteers who can help market this trail rider. This is actually available not only for rent, but as well as for purchase. So there are other organizations in different cities in Canada, as well as in other countries, who have purchased this device. So this is one volunteer opportunity that a person can get involved with our organization. And we are also looking for volunteers who have backgrounds in photography and social media. The next program that we have is kayaking and paddling. So we usually hold our kayaking and paddling program at the Creekside Paddling Center, located at Falls Creek. This one is near the Science World. So the role of our volunteers here is they assist in kayaking and paddling. Let me show you a short video clip here. So there we go. The volunteer opportunities that we have, if you're the type of person who loves water and loving the view in downtown Vancouver, you can join us with kayaking and paddling and do a one-on-one assistance with our clients. And like all other programs that we have, we are looking for photographers and social media savvy volunteers. The third program that we have, this is the fourth. So kayaking and paddling are the second and third program that we have. The third program that we have with BCMOS is the adapted personal training. So this one is held on a year-round basis. We have it quarterly. Each cohort would consist of 25 clients. So the volunteer opportunities that we have here is we're looking for personal training assistant. What the person does here is assist our clients how to maneuver or go to our online videos. And sometimes they can also do the exercise with our clients who have different types of disabilities. And the other role for volunteers to get involved with us is to become a marketing and fundraising volunteer. We are looking for somebody who has that marketing background to promote this service or this program. At the same time, help us look for funds so that we can continue to promote this program on a year-round basis. Our newest program with DCMOS is the Adapted Cycling Program. This one is actually in partnership with GF Strong. So right now it's a pilot program that we are running. We are looking for volunteer cyclists who have their own personal bikes. So what they do is they would just cycle with all of our clients using this adapted cycling bicycle. And this program is actually limited for now for only clients that comes with from GF Strong. But yes, this is a free program that we have with British Columbia Mobility Opportunities Society. The next organization that we have is Adapted Sailing Association of BC. This one was formerly known as Disabled Sailing Association, and as of last month, we changed the name to Adapted Sailing Association of BC. So this program is designed to enable people with all levels of disability to enjoy sailing as a recreation activity. Here's a short video clip for you to enjoy. So we operate a fleet of 8 Martin 16 sailboats. And personally, I tried sailing and it's quite very entertaining. So what we're looking for volunteers here, if you're the type of person who also enjoy the sunshine and the beautiful views of the city from English Bay, you can be part of our program by becoming a sailing companion. We are looking for volunteers who have the experience and certification to take clients out sailing. So if you have the council certification or if you have years of sailing, this is one thing that you can get involved with us. But if you don't have the sailing experience, the other thing that you can do is become a land volunteer. You can help our team clean and rig the boats, assist our participants in and out of the boats, be part of our kids events and race club events. As usual, we also need photographers and social media volunteers and marketing volunteer. We have the boat donation program we call BREEZE. It is we have donors who would donate their own boats, and this is how we generate extra funds to run our program. So if you have that marketing background, we would love to have you on board. The next organization who's promoting another summer program is the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association. This was founded in 2003. Technically, it started in 1987 by a couple of founders, but Sam Sullivan took over in 2003, and enhance the quality of life for people with disabilities through gardening. Today, we have 8 community gardens located in different areas. Part of what we do is we provide one-on-one assistance, gardening assistance. And in the past years, we actually would hold gardening workshops. But as of last year, we closed this down, and instead, because of COVID, we cannot hold gardening workshops on site. So what we did is we came up with the virtual workshops. As I mentioned, we have 8 community gardens. These are all the gardens that are operating right now. So these are all located in Vancouver. So if you are an avid gardening fan and you'd like to be part of our program, our volunteer opportunities are for those who would like to help manage our community gardens. We also provide one-on-one assistance to disabled gardeners at each location. Like I mentioned earlier, we hold virtual workshops right now. So if you are computer savvy and at the same time know how to operate Facebook live streaming and Zoom, you can be part of our team. We are also looking for researchers to help us with the virtual content all about gardening. We are looking for volunteers who can facilitate or run our workshops. And we also are looking for volunteers for fundraising and grant writing. Next, we have our Tetra Society. So Tetra Society was founded in 1987. Let me show you a video clip here.
When I was 4, I had a brain tumor and it affected my left side. So when I was playing recorder in my music class, I couldn't fit in.
This is the 5th recorder that I have modified, and Jordan's is a little bit different because he only has one hand that he can use. So in recorders, if you want to play number 4, 5, or 6 down here, you also have to have 1, 2, and 3 closed. With Jordan, he could press down with his thumb, close the upper 3, and then play with 4, 5, and 6 down below with his one hand. This is just a support for him, and it's just a coat hanger, that's all.
Greg, thank you very much for making me able to fit in with everybody else and be able to play. And I love this. I play it a lot and I have fun.
So as you see in the video, Tetra Society customized devices for people with disabilities. Just a little background, the Tetra Society is actually the first organization that came about. When Sam Sullivan was trying to find his independence, he actually needed these customized devices himself. So Tetra Society, like I mentioned, is about finding solutions to environmental barriers faced by people with disabilities. We have over 50 chapters across North America, 45 chapters here in Canada, and 5 chapters in the US. And we recruit technically skilled volunteers. So if you want to be part of Tetra Society, here are the roles that we have. If you can be a designer and builder, if you have the technical skill, or you can be an outreach volunteer where you can help us promote our programs and reach out to the community. Or if you're a healthcare professional, like you're an occupational therapist or physiotherapist or other types of healthcare in the industry who help people or clients with disabilities, you can be part of our team. That way you can work with our technical people, our designers and builders to help customize devices. What we are also looking for are media and marketing volunteers to help promote our NetClay project. And we also have our social media and communications. So if you think you have that background, like I mentioned earlier, we have 50 chapters. So each chapter, like 45 chapters across Canada, each chapter needs volunteers to help promote, to be part of the social media and communications team. Last but not the least, we are also looking for fundraising and grant writing volunteers. So yeah, if you are interested to join Tetra Society, please let us know. The next program that we have is VAMS. This one is the Vancouver Adapted Music Society. So let me show you another video clip here. So with VAMS, VAMS was actually co-founded in 1988 by two Vancouver musicians. It was Sam Sullivan and Dave Symington. Both of them are actually into music, and as a little history there, Sam Sullivan actually plays the guitar, and he actually also is a vocalist. So the whole concept of VAMS is to raise awareness through music that people with disabilities have talents, and to support their musical aspirations. VAM used to have a music studio in GF Strong Rehabilitation Center, but we are moving to a new location. So what we do is we provide one-on-one lessons for a client who would like to learn a new instrument or to learn a new song. We help clients pursue music using adapted instruments. So the volunteer opportunities that we offer with VAMS are, we are looking for music instructors who knows how to play the guitar, or who can teach piano or other kinds of musical instrument. We are also looking for singing instructors. So if you have that skills and you can teach singing, we would love to have you be part of VAMS. We have our radio on-air program as well. So if you are a content writer, please volunteer with us. And last but not the least, we are looking for a volunteer assistant so that we can promote our mini school or our choir program. Okay, moving on to the next organization that we have is Connectra. Connectra was founded in 1999. This organization is what we call our connecting agency. It links people with disabilities with organizations and agencies running different activities and programs. So what we do is we provide resources available in the community. Our aim is to enable people with disabilities to be socially active and at the same time be involved as much as possible through leisure activities, employment opportunities, trainings, and others. So in the past, we usually would hold Abilities Expo. We haven't been doing it for the past couple of years. We're not doing it as well this year because of COVID. But next year, sometime in May, we are going to do this Abilities Expo again. So in the past, we also have done workshops, like informative workshops. But because of COVID, we were able to create another program, which is what we call Connect Together. So Connect Together is a virtual workshop. We provide different kinds of topics. There's chair yoga, adaptive fitness, nutrition, different kinds of information that we provide to the community. Connect Together was created to continue our program and mandate of providing resources to the community. So the volunteer opportunities here, if you'd like to be part of Connectra and you have you're a content creator, we'd love to have you on board. We hold forums on regular basis, like these workshops that we're holding right now. This is part of Connectra, but we have been holding different kinds of accessible forums. So if you have the background of note-taking, you can volunteer with us, or if you have the skill to facilitate workshops, you can also join us, as well as we are also looking for technical support volunteers who knows how to do Facebook live streaming or how to operate Zoom. So these are the opportunities if you'd like to be part of Connectra. Last but not the least is Disability Foundation. Like I mentioned earlier, Disability Foundation is the mother organization. Our role is to make sure all of the 6 affiliated societies would be able to carry out their own programs. We help administer the societies and help raise funds so that we can continue to provide meaningful experiences. The volunteer opportunities that we have are as follows. We have our social media and communications, our fundraising team, grant writing, and general administrative tasks. So if you are, you have the skills in any of this, please feel free to join us. We would love to have more people working with us. The general administrative tasks, just to break it down, we are looking for those who knows how to do data entry, who can work with our accounting team and others. So yeah, these are all the volunteer opportunities we have. So in a nutshell, I'd like to show you this short video to cover everything I mentioned. Awesome. So if you find our programs and services interesting, please connect with me. You can email me at volunteer@disabilityfoundation.org. Just letting you know that some of our summer programs are in person, but for the most part, we have a lot of volunteers who are virtually volunteering with us. So wherever you are, whether you're here in Vancouver or in other cities, in Vancouver, you can join us. So that's it for my presentation. I would like to pass the next presentation to Serena to talk about the Youth Leadership Initiative.
Great, thanks so much, Cheryl, for your presentation. I'll just share my screen real quick here. Okay, perfect. So like Cheryl mentioned, I will be presenting on YLI, or the Youth Leadership Initiative. So what is the Youth Leadership Initiative? So the Youth Leadership Initiative is a national 3-year project that's studying employment barriers, brainstorming solutions for those barriers, and is run by interns like myself. So my name is Serena, and I am the intern that's responsible for outreach. We also have 2 other interns. One of their names is Max, who's responsible for research, and Alice, who's responsible for communications. We also receive leadership training via Royal Roads University. And basically, in a nutshell, the main, goal of YLI is to discover what are the employment challenges that youth with disabilities are facing, and how can we brainstorm some solutions for those barriers. So what are the current statistics on employment for youth with disabilities? So a significant number of youth with disabilities are neither in school nor employed when compared to their able-bodied counterparts, where 33% of youth with quote-unquote severe disabilities are neither in school nor employed, and where 15% of youth with quote-unquote less severe disabilities are neither in school nor employed. I have severe and less severe in quotes because disability is a spectrum, and the definition for what's severe or less severe can definitely vary. And in our case as well, the definition for youth is 17 to 30. And I was actually 17 to 24 previously, but we decided to expand it to be more inclusive of all youth. And here are some stats on employers' attitudes towards youth with disabilities. So when we were doing a bunch of research ahead of this project starting, we wanted to get an idea of what employers' opinions were on youth with disabilities and whether that played a factor in youth with disabilities having lower rates of employment. So a few employers were asked why they don't hire and retain workers with disabilities, and these were the most common responses. So there was a lot of concerns about the cost of accommodations, a lack of knowledge about accessibility needs, and that kind of plays into the first point too. Like they didn't know how much a cost for a particular accommodation would be, whether accessibility needs require accommodation or what that looks like. And I think this also plays into the last point of anxiety over legal action, just because of the lack of knowledge about disabilities and accessibility needs in general. A lot of employers were concerned that their lack of knowledge might result in accommodations not being made appropriately and possibly legal action occurring as a result. So if I haven't mentioned it already, we're doing a survey, and the goal of the survey is to identify the perceived barriers to employment from the perspective of youth with disabilities. Currently, our survey has about, I think, 230 responses around that range, and that has varied from BC to the Maritimes to the Territories, to folks from 17 to 24, and now we're hopefully looking to get more responses from 24 to 30 as well, and from a wide range of disabilities as well. And we're also trying to determine if the literature that we read up on during our research phase is accurate. Were those employers' attitudes that we read about what's actually happening in practice in Canada? We also want to brainstorm solutions to any perceived barriers and create a multimedia toolkit to support employers and youth with disabilities in the job seeking process. So what are attitudinal barriers? So in our survey, we defined attitudinal barriers as levels of self-confidence. So whether someone was extremely confident or extremely not confident about their ability to get their particular job done, especially in comparison to able-bodied folks. Perception of discrimination, whether folks have perceived themselves to be a victim of discrimination in their careers, and a higher performance expectation as well. So do youth with disabilities have to work greater hours to meet the same expectations? So these were our main barriers to employment for the survey, which is honestly a relatively unexplored topic in the existing literature. There's a lot of research that's been done on high school students, basically like that teenage range from 13 to 18, but there's not a lot of literature about students who may be in post-secondary, youth from 17 to 30 years old, kind of that transitional period. And the focus on university students is also a unique feature of the study. A lot of our outreach has been to post-secondary institutions, in addition to disability organizations across Canada and any other outlets we can find to promote our survey as well. So next steps, you can fill out our survey at disabilityfoundation.org/YLI. Our intern that I mentioned, named Max, who's responsible for research, has actually done like a preliminary report and done some data analysis. So we're just currently looking to get some more responses to hopefully strengthen those results. We're also looking to create an advisory council for our next stage of YLI. And this is kind of where the volunteers come into play to get into some more qualitative research to understand folks' experiences. In addition to that, though, we're always looking for volunteers, whether it be for outreach, communications, research, anything of the like. And we're also looking to do some final recommendations. So hopefully in our last phase of YLI, we'll be able to gather all the data that we've gotten, quantitative and qualitative, and get that multimedia toolkit complete as well, and include those in our final recommendations. So I think this brings me to the end of my presentation. So if folks have any questions or if they'd like to get involved, you can always send me an email, and you can always learn more at disabilityfoundation.org/YLI. So thank you so much.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. Thanks, Serena. And so I'm going to be talking today a little bit about fundraising. So I'm just going to call up my PowerPoint here. second. Yeah, so my name is Jordan Cripps. I'm a Development and Communications Officer with the Disability Foundation and our affiliated societies. And like I mentioned, I'm going to be talking a bit about fundraising today. My job is basically to go out and find money that supports all of the programs you've been hearing about today. And we do that through a bunch of different ways. And I'm going to go very, very briefly, 100 million mile high overview of what that looks like for us. Talk a little bit about what our, sorry, just one second. A bit about how we fundraise, and then one of our newer initiatives, which is third-party fundraising. First thing I want to say is a bit of a caveat that you know your areas far better than I do. So just the things that I'm going to be going over are sort of some tips and guidelines of things that have worked for us. That may not work in particular area. So I'll get started here. As many people probably know, there are many, many different ways to fundraise. You can see on the left there, there are going through corporations and cause marketing, gifts in kind, events and different campaigns and mass marketing and major gifts. So for us as a relatively small organization, it was important to focus on a few key areas of fundraising, devoting our resources to those 3 or 4 key elements. Our primary focus has always been grant writing, which is basically money given by a government or private organization for a particular purpose in response to an application seeking support. Like I said, that has been always our kind of bread and butter for fundraising, but it can be, there's some challenges associated with that. Grants are not always available when you need them, really. Grants can take time for a funder to accept or decline your proposal, and in the meantime, you're waiting to get your program running. And so we had to look for other ways to try and raise some funds. One of the other ways we do is annual appeals. Every one of our 7 organizations does an annual appeal campaign. This is usually done through an email to some of our supporters, as well as online social media posts, and in many cases, physical mail to some of our longtime supporters as well. I'm going to skip number 3 for just a second and move right to number 4, which is major gifts and corporations. We try to get familiar with different organizations across British Columbia. And I know that we saw the ad at the beginning of this, and we're certainly grateful for all of the support that we received from different corporations and businesses that have gotten involved with us over the years. And so I'm going to go back now to the third party and peer-to-peer. That's basically supporting efforts of somebody who fundraises on our behalf. That is something that we're just starting to explore this in the past year or so. It's a very new concept for us, but it has a lot of different benefits, which I'm going to get into in a couple of minutes. So the first thing we always sort of talk about is that every interaction is a fundraising opportunity. You're always kind of looking for what doors can you open. Just got to move my screen here. You're always sort of thinking about a person that you're talking to as a prospective donor or fundraiser. And that sounds very mercenary, and it sort of is, but it's also kind of a reality. You want to sort of make sure that you're working with people who are and connecting with people who are supportive of what your goals are. It's really important for us to remember that we all need each other. So now talk a bit about the third party and peer-to-peer fundraising that we've been looking into. So we have in the past supported individuals who want to raise funds on our behalf. We help to promote their campaigns. We recognize campaign donors and provide simple ways for their supporters to contribute. So just to give a quick example of one we ran last year, it was a campaign relating to the International Day of Persons with Disabilities last December. We had a board member who was interested in launching a campaign for Connectra in support of that. And it involved sort of an experiential component as well as a bit of a social media blitz and things like that, trying to drum up some media interest as well. And so we worked with the board member to come up with a campaign that he would be able to execute on, as well as we would be able to support. And we were very pleased with the success of it. It was probably one of our more successful campaigns, certainly Connectra's more successful campaigns in its history. So we kind of saw the benefit of doing third party and peer-to-peer fundraising through that campaign. They really allow us to connect with people who are outside of our day-to-day audience, but who, with the right stewardship, sort of communicating with them and getting to know them and figuring out a way to work together on a more long-term basis, those people can really become long-term supporters. And that's something we, of course, want people to feel like committing to supporting us for a long term. And so for us, success is about the money raised, but it's really about what the programs that the money is supporting are, and what we are achieving with the funds that are raised. It's about the change that it makes happen. And so one of the reasons we have really been exploring third-party and peer-to-peer fundraising is because when fundraisers see the impacts of the projects that they've supported, they take pride and ownership of their responsibility and their role in making that program possible, and that benefits everybody. That is the end of my presentation. I've got a link here to some of our resources on our third-party campaigns and third-party fundraising. If there are any questions or comments, or if you want to get involved as a volunteer, helping our fundraising team in different ways, we're always looking for people to help with research and seeking out new potential funding opportunities and things like that. So feel free to reach out to me. There's my email right there. And that was the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all for presenting. I just want to make sure the person under the Disability Foundation Zoom account, are you presenting as well or no? I didn't catch your name. I'm going to take that as a no then. Cool. Well, thank you, Cheryl, Serena, and Jordan, for letting us all know a little bit more about how we can get involved with the Disability Foundation and affiliate societies, as well as the initiatives that they take on. It was wonderful to hear for that. And I'm sure everyone who's interested will reach out accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
And I think we are good to go.
Awesome.
Thank you for attending the Vancouver Island Virtual Roadshow presented by the Connectra Society. This event is sponsored by Capital Daily and Pattison Media's various Nanaimo radio stations. As a reminder, this event is being streamed and recorded to the Disability Foundation YouTube channel. Feel free to turn off your camera if you are not comfortable being recorded. For some quick housekeeping rules, please mute yourself during the presentation unless called on or instructed by the presenter. To ask a question, you can either type it into the chat box or unmute yourself at the end of the presentation. During this event, we have automatic closed captioning available. Please go to the bottom of the Zoom meeting, click Live Transcript, and then Show Subtitles to turn them on. Before we begin, we'd like to take a quick moment to let you know how you can join an opinion research panel made specifically for British Columbians living with disabilities.
For 25 years, the Disability Foundation has been fostering meaningful experiences for Canadians with disabilities through outdoor recreation, social connectedness, innovative adaptive devices, and more. Today we are asking, how has the pandemic affected you? Help strengthen decision makers' understanding of your needs and experiences by joining an online opinion research panel consisting solely of people with disabilities and their caregivers. Make a difference in your community today. The Disability Foundation. Reimagine what is possible.
Wonderful. And with that, I'll hand it off to Megan.
Awesome. Thank you. And just wait till this is big. And then if you could just switch me to be on the big screen.
Let me do that super quick. There we go.
There we go. Awesome. Perfect. Beautiful. Well, that was cool. Well, trade show week. That's awesome. Welcome to anyone who's new and is the trade show, is this being recorded for later, or are there live people coming from the trade show? Do you ladies know?
Bit of both. There's some live attendees
Okay.
here, and then it's being recorded to the YouTube channel and Facebook.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, welcome to those of you who are new and haven't been coming, and welcome back to those of you that have been coming basically every Thursday. There's quite a crew of us that come every Thursday, and I'm super grateful for that. So I believe last week we had Miss Natalia teaching, and today I'm teaching. My name is Megan, and I'm with Ocean Rehab and Fitness. And today we're going to do a little bit of a full body workout. We're going to be doing a little bit of a lot of movement to get warm. We're going to do a little bit of release work at the beginning. And then we're going to get into some full body, lower body and upper body. So a little bit of something for everyone. Don't worry so much about having a lot of equipment. For those of you that are new, you can use things around your house. And I'll show you some of the stuff we're going to be using today. So if you'd like, one of the options you can use for our release work is some type of ball. So if you have a tennis ball lying around or any type of firm ball that's roughly this size, we don't want to go as firm as like a golf ball. So just something like a lacrosse ball, that's what this is. Some type of a dog ball or a tennis ball works really well. If you don't have something like this, I'm also going to demonstrate how to do this with your hand palpating with your fingers. So that's one option for our warm-up. And then I would like everybody to have some type of weights. So I always demonstrate with just trusty soup cans. You can do something like this. You can have a couple pounds in each arm if you want. If you have little dumbbells, like 2 pounds work well, 3 pounds. Some of us in here might use a little heavier. Just kind of depends on what you're working with. But I wouldn't say anything probably for most of us over 3 pounds in each hand. Water bottles actually work really well as well. Okay, so 2 of those if you can. And then we're also going to be using some type of a band. So I'm demonstrating with a blue band, which is on the heavier side. But today, let's do anywhere from like a medium band. So it depends on, the colors are different depending on the brands you have. So I'm not going to talk about colors, but some type of medium band. If you have more than one band in terms of resistance, then just have them all handy. And once you see the movement, you can kind of decide what you're going to use. Okay, so one band, making sure it's a little bit longer. And then the last thing we're going to use is a dowel. And this is something that you can find around your house. Oh, and that reminds me, if you don't have a band, you can grab like tights or yoga pants or something. They work really well. Some of us don't have bands. Okay, and then last but not least, the dowel. If you have a dowel cut, this is great. Just make sure that it is wider than your shoulders. And if you don't have a dowel cut, you can use a broomstick, you can use a dead hockey stick, anything like that. Some people use umbrellas. Even my paddle boat ladies, they use their paddle boat, dragon boat paddles. That's great too. So whatever you have hanging around, that would be great. So that's what we're using today. And I'm going to get everybody to start by sitting up really tall. So depending on what you're sitting in your chair, whether you have a really big dump in your chair, or maybe we're in a power chair and we're pretty like far back like this. If you're able to, let's try and get ourselves sitting up as tall as we can. So that might mean getting your chair to be not so reclined and coming up. If you need like a chest strap to help you with that, that's fine. Otherwise, sometimes it's handy to put something behind your back. So this is quite large for somebody in a chair, but if I was sitting on the couch, I could put this behind my back and sit up a lot taller than if I was just going to sit back on my couch and do this. Okay. So basically the goal is just to get us a little taller, higher up on our sit bones, and get that spine nice and long. And what that's going to do is help us access a lot more of our back and our posterior chain and warm up our side body, because we're going to be doing a lot of reaches and lateral movements. And I want to make sure that we're not doing it like this, because this can be, it can really restrict our movement and not get the same benefits. Okay. Hi, Neil. Thanks for coming. So another reminder, I know they said it in the presentation, but if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write it in the chat, and then we will go from there, and I'll look at it as soon as I can. Okay, so to start, let's everybody grab your ball, and or you are going to be using your hand. Reminder that we're sitting nice and tall, and I'm just going to take the ball, and I'm just going to start rolling right here at the front of my chest. Okay, so we're getting a little release work. This is for warm up, getting some blood flow, getting some feedback. If you're not using the ball, it will look a little bit like this. Okay, just with your hands or your fingers. And we're breathing. Okay. Getting nice in there. Okay. And then when you're done that, we can start moving our way up to the subclavicle. So this is going to be right under the collarbone. So you can see like this bony ridge right here. We want to be right under that. So there's some like a meaty part under it in here that can get kind of tight. It's connected just to the top of the pec minor. And we're running right along here. Okay, and once again, this can be your fingers too. It can look like this instead of a ball. This opposite hand, so this hand, that arm should be relaxed. And we don't want to forget your posture. Okay, so sitting nice and tall. And good. And now we're going to take it up into the traps. So the trapezius muscle, which is going to be really big, but it starts right up in the neck here, kind of like on the tops of the shoulder, inward. So you can put your hand or your ball right in that spot. And if you need to, you can support your arm with your other hand. And we're just digging and pressing in, finding spots that might feel tender. This is another one of those areas where if we're not sitting tall, we're not going to feel much work here. So when you sit tall, even I just kind of straightened up a little bit. It's a good reminder for everyone. And make sure that your chin is slightly tucked back. Okay. Good. And then when you're done that, you're going to put your ball down and you're going to take that arm and you're going to reach behind your head. So grab the back of your head or the back of your neck, and we're going to do some nice big activation slaps all the way from the top of the armpit all the way down. And we're trying to reach across. We're trying to get right into the back. Okay, and you're just doing some nice, easy, nothing crazy hard, but just kind of getting some blood flow and awareness to our side body. Okay, up and down. And then slowly release that, shake that out. Good. And you can always give your head a little bit of a tilt. See if you feel any difference on the side you just worked on. I know I do. If you don't, that's okay. You get another chance on the other side. Okay, and now we go to the other side. So this arm is relaxed down. I take my ball, and I'm coming in here. Okay, getting nice and deep in that pec area. And then we work our way up into subclavicle, so a little higher. This is the one where it's just below that collarbone. And once again, if you don't want to use the ball, that's fine. Breathing. And then we're going to come up. Okay, and then we're going to get right into that trap right here. Coming in, keeping that neck nice and long in the back of the neck so we're not hanging our head forward. We're staying right up above the spine. So head is right along the spine, not hanging forward. Okay, and then we're going to take that away. You're actually done with that ball now, so you can just take it away. One hand goes behind the head, and then we're going to do those nice activation slaps, starting up at the top, and then working our way down, reaching behind the back. Good. And slowly release that. Awesome. And then you can test the sides and see what feels better. Maybe they feel like the same now because we've done both. Okay, and if not, that's okay too. Just sometimes it's good to get a little bit of feedback of what we've been doing. Okay, so we're going to start with a nice cat-cow. So we're going to tuck our chin, one, and then you're going to round the spine all the way down. Feel free to grab the backs of your legs here. If you need to round your spine more, this can help you. Deep breath at the bottom. And then you're going to slowly roll up. Okay, hands are going to go behind you, eyes to the sky, and reach that heart up to the ceiling. Deep breath here. And we're going to do that again. Tucking that chin, rounding in the spine. This can be a nice slow movement. Make it really rich and creamy. We don't want to have it sharp and quick. Nice and smooth, because this is just our warm-up, right? So no drastic, sharp movements quite yet. And coming up, heart to the ceiling. Your hands can be behind you or even on the rims of your chair. Whatever is accessible to you. Okay, deep breath here. And then we do that again, tucking that chin, rounding one. We have two more, everybody. All the way down. Deep breath at the bottom, slowly roll up. Getting up as tall as you can. Hands behind you, eyes to the sky, heart to the ceiling, shoulder blades in your back pockets. And deep breath here. And then this will be your last time today. Tuck that chin, rounding in the spine. Deep breath. And slowly rolling up. Good. This is your last extension. Hands behind you, shoulder blades in your back pockets. Reach that heart to the ceiling, eyes up. Deep breath here. And then we're going to come back to neutral. We're going to do a nice big half circle with our nose. So nice and controlled. Half circle. And then it ends at the other side. Half circle. And it ends at the other side. And again. And again. And again. And 5. And 6. And this is 7. Last 3. And 8. 9. And this is 10. Good. And now we're going to do shoulder rolls coming forward both at the same time. So right and left moving together. Make sure your arms are completely relaxed down. So all the work is coming from the shoulders. And 8, 9, and then this is 10, and then we reverse it and coming back 1, 4, 7, and 8, and 9 and 10. Good. Now we're going to bring the hands to our shoulders, and now it's the elbow that's doing the circles. So we're coming forward 1. Elbows are moving. 2. 6, 7, 8, 9, and then this is 10. Try and kiss them in the front, and then we reverse it going back 1 and 2, 3, 6, 7, good, and 8, and this is 9, and then this is 10. Tap, and we're going to reach up 1 all the way up to the ceiling, looking at the hand if you can. Pull the imaginary object down. I always think of like a rope. And coming down. Nice side body stretch. So we're reaching up. Think of getting as high as you can with that hand, reaching all the way to past the ceiling or the sky. I know some of you do this outside, which is so awesome to see. Although it is quite hot today. So on that note, make sure everybody, you're taking water breaks when you need it. Up. Last 2 here. Up. And up. Good. And now we're going to rotate. So I'm going to use this hand to push off my thigh to rotate over as far as I can, keeping the hips square in your chair, and then sweep across as far back as you can, and then come back to neutral. So use this hand, or if you want to see it, I could use my couch and help rotate my body around, and then slowly rotate, and then back to center. Good. Other side. Rotate. Reach. And center. And rotate. Reach. And center. And again. Reach. And center. And rotate. Reach. And center. And again. Twist. Good. And again. We have 1 more, everybody, so we're even. Last time here. And over. And excellent. Okay, for those people in our hand therapy, and for those of you who may not use or be able to separate a lot of your joints in your wrists and your elbows. So let's try this. So arm out, extended. This is going to stay still, and we're going to do a nice big circle 1. So just with the wrist. So the wrist joint is the only thing moving. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then other way, and 1, 2 for 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we switch other side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 10, other way, and 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then we're going to pick something up. So sand, pick the sand up, squeeze it in your fists, and then flick water all the way across the room if you can. Okay, come on in, sand, pick up, squeeze as hard as you can, both hands, and then flick. Okay, make sure both hands are working. And squeeze, and flick. And again, 3 more. Big, pick up the sand, squeeze, let it drain out of your hands, and flick. And again, big squeeze, and flick. Awesome. Reach. We're going to go up and over this time. So right over, getting a nice big side stretch. So I told you today's a lot of spinal movement. This is what we're doing. Okay, reach up and over. Hand or elbow can be down to support you. So this is different from the reach we did before, because now we're reaching away to the other side of the wall. We're not reaching up to the ceiling anymore. Okay, so it's way bigger. Way bigger. Get it way over, because we're pretty warm now. Nice big side stretch. Some of us might even be feeling this all the way down into our hip. And up. Keeping that armpit up to the ceiling as best as you can. And reach. Nice. Last one here. And relax. Beautiful. Okay, let's get started into some hinging. So what I've been teaching in the past are 3 ways to do this. And I'm just going to turn a little bit sideways so everybody can see. So version 1 is us where we take our leg out and we extend it out, okay? And version 1 is going to be if we don't have a lot of trunk function here. So what we're going to do is think of keeping a nice long spine. So my back is nice and straight, not rounded here. And we're going to think of lifting the heart as we walk ourselves down our thigh. Okay? And then once you get as far as you can without rounding your back, so I don't want to see this, right? Then you come back up and you can walk your hands up. So this is option 1 if you don't have a lot of trunk. Okay, option 2 is having the dowel brought right in, pulling in at your chest, and it stays there. And you're going to bow, so hinge, keeping the spine long, pulling that dowel in, and then come on up. And then we're going to do it again. Down, and then up. Nice. And down, and up. Beautiful. And again. And up. Okay, so that's version 2. Version 3, which is the most advanced version, there might be 1 or 2 people in here that would be willing to do this. So just for the sake of that, arms would go up and we would come all the way down, nice long spine, and then all the way up. Okay, this one is only done though if we're confident to keep that big long spine. Okay, so hopefully we're all still moving while I explain this, but I'd like you to get 10 out. So I've done probably about 5, so I'll do 5 more, and I'll just end on this one, this version, but stick with the version that works for you. Okay, and our neck is nice and long. We're always looking like where we're going. And again, last one. And then up. Good. Okay, so now I'm going to switch legs so you can just pick up a leg and then you're going to bring the other one down and we're going to do the same thing. So I'll show all 3 versions again. I'm just going to start with overhead first. Here we go. So we reach out and away and up. And good. Okay. Keeping the back of the neck long, and now I'll demonstrate with this one. For 4, nice long spine, come on up. Okay, I haven't given any breath cues, but make sure you're still breathing. And then I'll show the last 3 as if I was walking myself down my thighs. So all the way down, boom, walk myself back up here. All the way down, boom, and then walk myself up. Last one, all the way down, and then walk myself back up. Okay, good. All right, awesome. So we're warm. Get some water, and then we're going to start using more of our tools and get into our first circuit. So the first thing I want you to start with are your 2 soup cans or your weights. Okay, and I'm going to give a variation of this as well. For those of you that need a little more support or stability, you can do what I'm about to show with 1 hand at a time, okay? So we're going to be doing a combination. So it's a bicep curl to a press, okay? So we are going overhead for those of you that have any shoulder pain overhead, anything like that. So the movement is here. So you're going to have your elbows in at the rib cage. Arms are going to start down, okay? And we're holding the weights with the fingernails facing our armpits, okay? I'll just move this down a little bit. Okay, so we're here. So I'm going to think of curling the weights in. This is 1. And then I'm going to flip them. And I'm going to press overhead. And then we reverse it in and then down. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you need more stability, you can hold onto your chair and you can do 1 at a time. okay? And then switch. If you have shoulder pain overhead, you can either do no weight and just do this action, or you can take the overhead out completely and just do bicep curls, okay? Those are your choices today. There's a lot, okay? If none of that applies to you and you just want to follow me, totally fine. I want to make sure everybody has options though. All right, here we go. We are going to do 10 together. 3, 2, and 1. Bicep curl, flip the weights up, back down, and down. 2, and 3. Nice. Sitting up as tall as you can. Reminder not to look at the weights as they go over your head. Keep looking at the monitor. Your eyes won't help you get the weights higher, I promise. Your body thinks different though. A reflex. Last 2 here. And down. Good. Okay, we're going to keep the weights. And I want everybody, if you need to, if you can't get to this long spine like we just did in the hinge, you can put something on your lap. This is a little high for me, but to support you. So this could be like a pillow, a yoga block, a chip foam block, anything like that, just to bring you up a little bit. If you don't need that support and you have a great hinge practice, feel free to come forward, eyes on the floor, and you're just going to do your weighted row. Okay, so I'll give everybody a couple seconds to set up. And this is also going to be 10. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze those shoulder blades and release. This is our first real shoulder blade squeeze or retraction today. Okay. Good. 2 more. And that's 10. Awesome. Good. And then you can just put the weights aside. Okay, go ahead and grab your band. This is where I would recommend a medium band. If you have a lot of spasticity in your inner thighs, then I would recommend no band and possibly putting something in between your thighs instead to drop, okay? Otherwise, we're tying the band around. I'm going to be, I call it lazy, but it's really just because I don't want to waste time. I'm going to do like a modified knot and just hold it, okay? Other hand can go on your waist, or if you actually tie your knot, you can have both hands on your waist. And we're going to think of keeping light in the feet, and we're going to send the knees all the way out to the sides at the same effort, okay? And this is going to be 20 if we can. If the band, you can start if you're ready. I'll just keep talking. If the band is too much for you, then you can do this without a band, okay? And you can even use your hands to help your legs a little bit, because we need to get some movement on this. So if you have the band and you're only able to go this far, it's too tight. We need to be able to get nice big open knees, okay? So this is why I said medium, for those of you that are using bands, medium to maybe light to maybe none, right? I don't think anyone in here will be using a heavy band that I can see. Okay, I could be wrong though, but as far as I can see. Okay, let's do 8 more. Nice and tall, remembering what's happening in your trunk. Everything's nice and pulled up. And this is 5, 6, 2 more, 7, and that's 8, and then relax. Awesome, good. Okay, so we've done 3. I somehow managed a knot when I didn't want to. There we go. So that's our 3. So we have 2 exercises with the weights. So bicep curl to press, bend over, tipping into that row, and then we're going to come in and do our seated abductions. Okay? So get a sip of water, and then we're going to do all of that one more time. Okay, so getting yourself ready. Once again, if anyone has or needs any other modifications or anything, just let me know. Everyone in here today that I see is a regular, but I know there's a lot of some of the trade show watching. So just a note, if you're watching from Facebook too, you can also ask a question, and the ladies running this will let me know too. It might just be a little delayed, but feel free to make a comment or ask a question there as well. Thank you, Sasha. All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. We come up, press, and down. Keeping your eyes on the monitor, we're not looking up. Okay, this is halfway. And last 2, keep that breath going. And that's it for that. So now grab your pillow or your support, whatever you need here. Okay, take yourself nice long spine. It's like you're bowing to someone. Eyes are going to stay on the floor. Here we go in 3, 2, doing your row and squeeze and release. Last 2, keep that breath going. And we are done there. Awesome. Slowly come on up. Okay, grabbing your band and or no band and or something to drop in between your knees. Okay, so getting yourself all ready. Here we go. Okay, other hand is going to be on your waist just to give us a reminder that we want to be sitting as tall as possible. And here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Open and in. Reminder, we aren't pushing into our feet with this one. Okay, nice and light. We're just trying to make the knees go outwards. Okay, we're halfway. 20 is the goal here. If you don't have it, do what you can. Once again, you can help with your hands if you need to. And we're trying to feel those outer hips working. So we want to feel work right out in here. And this will be my 10. It didn't break, don't worry. I just let go. This is why you knot it and you don't cheat like me. All right, last break, and then we're doing one more round of all that before we move on. So I'll give you a couple seconds, and then we're gonna get right back to our weights. Everybody seems pretty good. Also, when you get a chance, there's a panel posted in the chat for later if anybody wants to have some input there. I'm just looking at it myself. So check the chat out before you leave. It might interest you. All right. So this will be our last round, and then we're going to move on to a different circuit. Okay, here we go. So grabbing your cans or your water bottles or your weights, whatever it is that you're using. Reminder to be nice and tall. Here we go. And 3, elbows are in at the ribs. 2 and 1. Curl, turn the weights, curl, and then coming down. Breathing. Okay, last 3 here. Three. And awesome, good. Okay, now we're going to get that pillow or pad or whatever it is that you want to put here for support. Nice and tall, shoulders back. Think of bowing to someone across the room. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze. And this is 10. And then take a break. Awesome. You can put those aside. Okay, and then last time with the band, getting yourself set up. Okay, so one hand is on the band, other hand on that waist. Here we go, if you can. 3, 2, and 1. Opening up both knees as best as you can. Remember, we're not pushing into the feet on this one. This is probably the only time I'll not ask you to think of planting yourself into the ground. Think as if your feet were hanging and dangling in the air. You should still be able to do this movement. It's all coming from here. Okay, we don't want the floor to help us. Okay, I'm halfway here. Keep that breath going. Keep that tall posture. Focus on those outer hips right back here. Getting some movement as best as you can. Even if you have to help your legs with your hands, that's okay. That will still be beneficial, especially to rewire that movement pattern and get some strength going there, some awareness. And slowly relax. Awesome. Okay, we are done with those. Beautiful. Okay, set the band aside. Get a little sip of water. I'm just going to angle for this next one. I'm going to keep it down low. Okay, and what we're going to do is a quad extension. So if we're sitting nice and tall, you can, if you have a foot plate, you're going to take your leg out just a little bit out, so it's just on the front of the foot plate. Otherwise, if you're sitting on the floor, you can just keep your foot where it is, like mine. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to think of kicking your toe out in front of you, and you're going to feel this whole part of your leg tighten up. So if I'm here, I'm going to think of kicking, kick, and then I'm going to bring it back in. Okay, and we're going to kick and bring it back in. Okay, so once again, if you have a foot plate or you're on a scooter or something, you can put your foot out here so that you're just having to go up, and then the heel just comes back down to the floor. Okay, here we go. We're going to do 8 of these. Okay, and 1 and 2. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. 3 and 4, 5. Breathing. 6, 7, and 8. And then take a little break. Whew, awesome. Those are tough. Okay, then you'll do the other side. So if you need to, I'm just going to stay here because it doesn't really matter. You can still see my leg. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. Here we go. 3. It's also a nice idea for some of us to put a hand here so that you can get that actual feedback in your hand of what's happening, because sometimes our like some of us have different sensation going on, and if you don't have the right sensation here, it might not feel like you're doing much. So get your hand to help you. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Kick and down. 2 and 3 and 4. We're just going to 8 and 5 and 6, and that's 7 And that's 8. And relax there. Awesome. Good. Okay, coming back to square. Let's get that heart rate up a little bit. So we're going to get your dowel. And we're going to do a series. So kayaks to start. Let's get you on a timer here. Okay, so kayaks for 1 minute. So we're going to be kayaking. Okay, this should be done seated by everybody. Make sure you're nice and tall. And then after that, you're going to set this aside and we're going to do 10 jacks where I hear you clap. Okay, so 1 minute and then 10 jacks, and I'll walk you through all of it. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. So just like you were in a kayak, which many of us in here are doing right now in the beautiful summertime with BC Moss and their awesome programs. So think of really driving down into the floor, into the imaginary water, not like I'm doing. I'm on a couch, so I'm having to cut it short. I really want you to drive down, just like you were on the water, and you had to drive that paddle down into the water to propel you forward. You are over halfway. Ten seconds. And time. Awesome. Put that aside. Timer off. Jacks. So we're going to start with a clap over the head, and then clap if you can. You can just clap right at your sides, or you can tip forward and clap your hands under your legs. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Clap. Everybody together. Good. 5. Feel those feet and hips nice and heavy. Get grounded. 2 more. And take a break. Awesome. Good job, everybody. Okay, that is a longer circuit. So let's take a break, and then we're doing all of that again. So we have our quad extensions, right? The hip leg extension. And then we're going to come into our dowel kayaks for time. And then we're putting the kayaks down, or the dowel down, and we're doing our jacks. Okay? So water, and then we'll get started. Okay. All right. So getting ready, sitting up nice and tall. 3, 2, 1. And we extend. I guess you can't really see my leg. And 2. And 3. 4. Remember, you can put your hand on your thigh if you need to feel that work. And that is 8. Okay. Other side, if you need to bring that leg out a little bit, that's fine. Starting here, 3, 2, and 1, and we kick. 2, 3, 4. Make sure you're not rounding in your spine. Really helpful to have something along your back. This is where that propping up thing helps, and from the beginning. And that is 8. Awesome. Good. All right. Get your dowels. Getting ready for our kayaks. 1 minute here on the clock. 3, 2, 1. And drive deep. I want to see everybody cross the finish line as if we were at the Olympics. Kayaks. Keep going. drive, dowels deep, really rotate. There should be no wiggle parties in the hips. So if you can see, if you're not looking at your side to side and you're looking forward, you can see my hips aren't moving. That's how we should be. We shouldn't have any wiggles down there. "15 seconds left, everybody. We're almost there." Three, two, one, and time. Beautiful. Okay, done with that. Take that aside. Have no equipment. Get ready for your jacks, starting with the hands clapping overhead in 3, 2, 1, and up. I should hear everybody clapping. Nice, everybody. 2 more. This one's 10. And slowly, good. Shake that out. Give your neck a little roll. Okay, we have time to just stretch it out a little bit. We did a lot of overhead, so we're going to do a couple neck stretches. So get nice and tall. I'm going to get the timer ready here. 30-second holds. So we're going to sit tall, tuck that chin, and you're going to look down at an armpit. Okay, and we're on the clock. So we're stretching the opposite side. We should be feeling this in the opposite side. If you don't feel it, tuck your chin more. Slowly come up and other side. Last time here, 30 seconds. Here we go. Tucking that chin. Should feel it on the opposite side of the way you're looking. Breathing. And slowly come back to center. Very nice. Okay, thanks everybody who came from the trade show and everybody who was new. Appreciate you coming, and thank you to those that come every week. Your dedication and devotion is amazing, and it blows me away all the time to see all these same names every week. So thank you for coming, and I will see you all next week. I hope you enjoyed the weather. Stay cool if you're in BC. Thank you, Linda.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Megan. Wonderful
Thank
as always.
you. Awesome. Thank you, Sasha. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. I'll see you next week.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Janice. Aw.
Okay, and somebody feel free to interrupt me if my screen isn't showing. But yeah, let's get this in present mode. Okay, so like I said, I'm Simon. I'm the hiking coordinator with BC Moss, and that stands for British Columbia Mobility Opportunities Society. I'm going to be talking about the different programs that BC Moss has, and yeah, let's get right into it. So the first program I'm going to talk about is our hiking program. That's the one that I'm currently working with. It's my second year doing it now. I've had a lot of fun. Yeah, so our routes were formed by Sam Sullivan, who's the former mayor of Vancouver. Sam got injured in a skiing accident when he was just a young adult, but he didn't want his injury to stop him from doing all the different activities, like hiking, for example. So as you can see, on the left here, he had a really early device called the Trail Rider, still called the Trail Rider. Started with just a lawn chair and a couple of pads, and now it's really evolved into a well-oiled machine, I guess you can call it. So let's take a look at this video here and see what our hiking program looks like today. And hopefully this sound is gonna be shared. So Let me know if he does.
I hiked with Sam yesterday too. Yeah. A little bit more. How you doing, Eric? Good. All right.
Got a feeling and I'm gonna feel it out. You got me shaking up and moving around. From the birches to the blacktop, we want it all, we want it all. Give me all of it. Don't stop, don't quit. No, 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 not a little bit. Give me all of it. Don't stop, don't quit. No, 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 not a little bit. Give me all of it. Give me all of it. Give me all of it. Give me all of it.
Yeah, so what we saw in that video was the new and improved version of the Trail Rider. So as you can see now, there was people working at the back of the Trail Rider and pulling at the front as well. So the two roles work really well together. Pushing this Trail Rider is easier than it looks, I have to say. I can say that because I've worked with it for 2 years now. So yeah, really comfortable for the client with the different pads, armrests, adjustable feet, footrest, sorry. And it even folds up so you can fit it into your own van, minivan, SUV, whatever. So really well designed product for sure. And people have also rented these trail riders from us in the past. So just to talk about a few of the trips that people made. So on the left, you have somebody who was in the Himalayas here and actually went to Everest Base Camp with her 2 sons using the trail rider. In the middle, we have Machu Picchu with a big group there. And then on the right, we have the Grand Canyon. So somebody actually took the trail rider to the floor of the Grand Canyon. So lots of different places that you can go with the trail rider. If you've got the people that are dedicated and ready to help out, you can make it anywhere. So it's really cool and inspiring to see what people have done with the trail rider. So let's talk about something that we used to do previous to COVID. Hopefully we're going to get back to it maybe next year, but that was access challenges. So an access challenge is where we would take 4 or 5 individuals and we would have them create their own teams of 6. And we would take the trail riders and see where we could take them, right? So on the right here, we have Garibaldi Provincial Park with beautiful black tusk in the background. And on the left, a little bit of a Vancouver Island theme, we've got the West Coast Trail. So the trail riders all hooked up and going across the river. So pretty cool, again, to see what the trail rider can do. So let's talk a little bit about our regular programs. Normally, again, previous to COVID, we would be talking with the clients who sign up with us and we'd be asking them where they want to go hiking, right? Because we want them to get the most out of their experience, right? It's about the client, of course. So on the left, you can see this is in the Lower Mainland. So the North Shore, just north of Vancouver, we've got Link Canyon Suspension Bridge. And on the right, also on the North Shore of Vancouver, we have Lighthouse Park. So these are 2 of the locations that we went to in the past. And yeah, really beautiful. Now with COVID, we've kind of limited ourselves to our own little bubble out by UBC in Pacific Spirit Park and Spanish Banks. Still really nice trees, really nice forests and beach access. So we've really enjoyed this past year still, and we've got a lot of people out, which has been really awesome because of course, a lot of people haven't had the same opportunities to get outside and be in groups and all that stuff. So it's been important to keep our programs going, even through COVID. So yeah, let's talk about a couple personal stories here. So I mentioned the Himalayas already. Well, we've had multiple people actually go to the Himalayas. So this is Linda on the left, and she actually made it not only to Everest Base Camp, but she actually went past Everest Base Camp to about 18,000 feet, I believe. We were hiking with her last week actually, so she told me the number, but I'm pretty sure it's 18,000 feet. So obviously pretty high, higher than I've ever been for sure. So that was really cool to be able to hike with Linda and hear all her stories and all the stuff that she's done. But you know, not everything has to be as dramatic as Everest, right? So on the right, we have a man named Liam, and Liam really enjoyed getting out with our program last year because we were able to give him a family outing on the beach. Because normally when that Spanish Banks, when the tide gets out, You can walk for about 1 kilometer on the sands, and he was able to get out there with his family and with his dog, where he says normally he wouldn't be able to do that. He would just relax by the shoreline in his chair, right? So pretty cool that we were able to give him that experience. And yeah, it doesn't have to be going to Everest, right? It can just be a stroll on the beach. We also do kids days, where usually we partner with our sailing program, which I'm going to talk about later. And yeah, kids hike for free with us. And yeah, we usually have a good day of plans, fun and games, prizes, stuff like that. So I think we have one set up for this August, I believe. So later in the month, so that's coming up. And coming this summer, so yeah, we're looking at expanding our rental program because for trail riders, because obviously with COVID, some people still aren't comfortable getting out in different groups and you know, being outside their bubbles. So this way, you're able to rent the trail rider for only $10 a day, and you're able to get out there in your own bubble, maybe with your own family, your own friends, and go where you want to go, right? Because right now we're only doing Pacific Spirit Park and Spanish Banks in our bubble, like I talked about. So even if you're on Vancouver Island and you've got a hike that you want to do in the Lower Mainland or Strathcona Park, I believe is a nice provincial park on the island. If you want to do that, come on down and pick a trail rider up for a nice affordable price. So that's what we got going on in the Lower Mainland. We're looking at expanding to Squamish, so we've partnered with the District of Squamish to ship a trail rider up there so that it can be rented for people in Squamish. Hopefully, if that's successful and well received, we can maybe move to Vancouver Island one day and have a partner there, so we can make the trail riders more widely available as well. So yeah, that's the hiking portion of this presentation. If you have any questions about our programs, renting trail riders, booking a hike, anything really, we're happy to answer your questions at hiking@bcmoss.org. Okay, so also new this summer, which I forgot to talk about, is our adapted cycling program. So this is a partnership project with GF Strong. They were kind enough to donate us 3 bicycles and or most of them trikes actually, adapted tricycles. And so yeah, we've been starting that, and been a lot of fun. It's been cool to see people push themselves on the bikes, and this is more something that people can keep in mind next year if they want to participate, because as of right now, it's a small-time pilot project. So hopefully it'll be more widely available to clients next summer. So something to keep your eye on for the future. Okay, so we've got Adapted Fitness, which is a fairly new program that we started up actually in the beginning of the pandemic. So instead of me talking about it, I'll let Megan Williamson discuss this because she actually runs the program. So yeah, here's Megan.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan and I'm the founder and head trainer at Ocean Insider Club. I created this program knowing that having a personal trainer or a rehab coach is a luxury and not available to some people. Accessibility is a very difficult problem, and it depends on what location you're in or where you have access to any adaptive facilities or not. The idea for this program actually came about from a friend of mine who's a paraplegic, and she was at a gym and asked one of the staff members to help her on her form on an exercise. Although the trainer was very educated, he just didn't have any idea on how to help her. His comfort level wasn't there, and he just didn't have the knowledge. This is a barrier that I want to address with Ocean Insider Club. My ultimate goal is to create an accessible fitness resource for those living with spinal cord injuries and other disabilities. With Ocean Insider Club, you'll gain access to exclusive workouts created by me, which follow the international guidelines for spinal cord injury fitness. This includes adaptive exercises that can be done at home with minimal equipment or in a public fitness facility, and educational trainer tip videos. You will also have the opportunity for one-on-one time with me as part of the Trainer on Demand service. This is a monthly video call during which we can discuss and go over your fitness goals at an even more personal level. After working with dozens of clients living with spinal cord injury, I have developed countless programs that keep accessibility and mobility in mind to help guide you along your fitness journey. They are tailored to be efficient and effective, and no matter what your physical limitations may be.
All right, so I'm just gonna get back to my slideshow here. Okay, let's go back to present. yeah, so that was a nice little introduction to Megan's program there, adaptive personal training. So obviously all online, so that's awesome. We want to hear a participant's testimony here, which I really liked. So Jen says, the fact that this program was online was the only reason that she could ever consider it. It's strange that the pandemic has made it possible for people that live in really rural areas like I do to participate in something so valuable. So I'm actually really thankful for this program. It taught me a lot. I reached out and socialized in wholly different ways now that the pandemic is ongoing. This program for me was like a stepping stone for a regular socialization routine that I was really lacking. So the reason I really like this testimony was because it kind of addressed the two things that I feel I've been lacking in COVID as well. Early in the year was kind of the social aspect, like getting to see your friends and others on a regular basis, right? So being indoors all the time, didn't have really that opportunity, and staying active as well. So I think Jen addresses these two things with the program, so that's awesome to see. And before I want to go into our kayaking program, I have to mention that BC Moss actually sponsors 25 slots for this program, so for free, no cost at all. It has been really popular. We've done, I think, 4 cohorts so far, I believe, and it's been full every time with waiting lists. So I'll make sure that I can get the link, the sign up link in the chat or somewhere afterwards, so that you guys have that available, because of course you can participate from anywhere. So yeah, get on that early if you really want to sign up for the next cohort. So yeah. And next we have our BC Moss kayaking program. So I'm going to let our kayaking coordinators talk about that one. All right, here's our paddling presentation, and voila.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Abby. Welcome to our presentation. I am one of the paddling coordinators this year at BC Moss Paddling Center. And I'll let Charlotte introduce herself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Charlotte. Just like Abby, I'm a paddling coordinator for BC Moss this summer.
I'm in.
Here's our presentation.
I think it's still on the Canvas, the Canva page.
Okay.
I'm not sure if anyone else is seeing that as well.
That's fine. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Are you still seeing Canva right now?
Yes.
Okay. What did I do the first time? What if is that better?
Still seeing Canva.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to try this.
Do a reshare. Perfect. That should do the trick.
That should do the trick. And let me know. Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
thank
better.
you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay.
Of course.
Take 2.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Abby. Welcome to our presentation. I am one of the paddling coordinators this year at BC Moss Paddling Center. And I'll let Charlotte introduce herself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Charlotte. Just like Abby, I'm a paddling coordinator for BC Moss this summer. And here's our presentation for the Roadshow. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can flip the slide. Awesome. So we'll start with the history of our program. So we're overseen by the Disability Foundation. We're one of their affiliated societies, BC Moss is. And so we are located down at the Creekside Paddling Docks. So prior to opening at the Creekside Paddling Docks in 2016, the kayaking program was located down at Jericho Beach. So moving the program to the Falls Creek location has allowed the program to expand and begin providing adaptive wheelchair paddleboarding, which has been really awesome in addition to kayaking. And so beginning with being open 5 days a week, the program has grown in popularity, and we're now open 7 days a week to accommodate the high demand. So that's been a great expansion.
Yeah, so our paddling program uses specially adapted equipment, which are accessible kayaks and wheelchair paddleboards. So our adapted paddleboards are called on-it ability boards, which allow for a manual wheelchair to be strapped into the board. It also features pontoons to prevent any chance of tipping and room on the back for a volunteer or staff member to accompany the participants on the water. We also have 2-seater kayaks that have additionally been adapted with pontoons to ensure stability. And Tetra Society has managed to elongate the cockpit or the front cockpit to ease transfers in and out of the kayak. And a paddle mount has been installed at the front to help alleviate strain on the muscles in the upper body. So a kayak paddle can be slipped through the paddle mount, and then it just holds it for the client. And in case they have, most of their clients with a stroke will use that if they only have, strong enough muscles on one side of the body.
Awesome. So we also have lifts available on the dock for clients to use. So we have a lift that uses a sling to help transfer clients from maybe a wheelchair into our kayaks. New this year is we have a lift that is slingless, so pretty cool. That's exciting for us and for our clients. Additionally, we have a self-transfer board, which may be able to use by people who have a strong upper body ability. After you're loaded into the kayak, we'll launch you into the water for your 1-hour sail. So our center of operation, as mentioned, and as you can see in this picture, is in Falls Creek near the Science World in Vancouver. And it's a peaceful, sheltered stretch of water with views ranging from city condos and the North Shore. So it's quite a special place. And there's also some great restaurants and pubs nearby too for afterwards, so you can really make a day out of it. And our program staff and volunteers, they all have extensive paddling experience and to ensure you get the most out of your time on the water. So if you're brand new to paddling or kayaking, that's no worries at all. We're here to help you and to assist you and to make you feel safe and comfortable.
So last year marked my first time working for BC Moss. And honestly, I did not anticipate how much fun I would be having. I was originally drawn to this program because of the opportunity to take clients out kayaking and paddleboarding, activities I've enjoyed doing since I was a kid. And I'm also studying kinesiology, where we dive into the mechanisms behind human movement. So working with a population of people who all vary in ability has allowed me to directly apply my learning, which has been pretty cool. And then last spring, before the paddling season, Abby and myself have helped out with the pilot study. So through that, I was able to take out one of the participants from the study, and we went paddleboarding, and it was her first time out on the water, which is pretty cool. So you can see that on the photo on the left. And then over the course of the summer, I was fortunate to meet and work alongside a ton of amazing people, some of whom I still stay in touch with, like my co-paddling coordinator, Sophie and Sophia, who are pictured in the middle picture, and they are in our paddling shed. And then through connections of my own, I could promote the program and had some family friends bring their children down to the paddling center for Kids Day, as photographed on the right. So overall, I just really found the environment at BC Moss to be very supportive, engaging, and just really rewarding, which largely contributed to my decision to return for this year's season.
And to the next slide. So I've had some great experiences as well. I've also had experiences with some of our other societies. And through that, I've gotten to build some amazing connections with our community and just honestly met some incredible people. It's such a great job, and you're out on the water. We have the opportunity to just meet and get to hear about people's experiences. A kind of story I can think about is a client I met through the program Charlotte mentioned, the adaptive fitness. I met a client who has since become honestly a good friend, and we keep in touch quite often on a regular basis through Zoom. So that's been really cool, once again, to just expand and get to know this community. I've also had clients tell me that being able to get out on the water through our programs gives them a sense of freedom that they've only found through our programs. So that's pretty cool to hear and super rewarding to know that the work we're doing is making an impact with individuals and the community as a whole.
So now we have some, I was going to say we have some testimonials from our We have some volunteers and previous paddling coordinators. So the first one is from Kevin, and he just started with us last summer. But he said that volunteering with BC Moss has given me the chance to meet people I may never have met otherwise, along with wonderful personal connections, paddling and hiking outings. What stands out to me is how much autonomy and trust is given to the volunteers and participants. I have frequently spoken with participants about what kind of outing they want for the day and have been able to adapt the route and speed to their preference. And this freedom creates a warm and relaxed environment that meets everyone where they are. And then this is from Sophie, who was one of our paddling coordinators last year. And she said that working with BC Moss was nothing short of fantastic. It combines creating meaningful relationships and paddling and kayaking in such a scenic destination. I am so grateful to have been able to work with BC Moss to create long-term friendships, learning how to create an inclusive yet adaptive environment and creating memorable experience through paddling and kayaking.
Yeah, and so a couple more testimonials. One from Sophia, who was a paddling coordinator last summer. She said, I loved working with the BC Moss paddling program because of the amazing relationship with the clients, the supportive environment, being able to spend time outdoors, and so much more. I'm so happy to have had part in helping people from all walks of life get out on the water and explore what kayaking and paddling have to offer. Additionally, a testimonial from Angelina, a volunteer. They said, it is such a treat to volunteer with BC Moss Summer Paddling Program. I have learned so much from all the amazing clients I have assisted and always know I'm in for a great day when I'm volunteering with BC Moss. All right. And so to wrap things up, as you can tell, this is quite a special program. It's definitely near and dear to Charlotte and I's hearts, which is why we've returned. Yeah, we're super fortunate to be working here, excited for this summer. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Our email is down at the bottom there. It's paddling@bcmoss.org. And thank you so much for tuning in to this roadshow.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed the other presentations. Okay, see ya.
Okay, so thank you, Charlotte and Abby, for that. Keeping time in mind, I think we're going to go right into our sailing presentation with Adaptive Sailing Association of British Columbia, formerly known as DSA. So we've had a nice little name change. Yeah, let's get right into it.
Hello, today we're going to be doing a presentation about the Adaptive Sailing Association of BC. My name is Laura. I'm one of the head instructors at the Adaptive Sailing Association. And I've been with the program now for about 4 years. I started off as a volunteer and now I'm working alongside Loic.
Yeah, so as Laura said, I'm Loic. I am the second head instructor at the Adaptive Sailing Association. And similarly to Laura, I started as a volunteer 7 years ago. And then I was hired as a staff member, and here I am.
All right, let's move along. So our vision at the company is to empower people with physical disabilities to reimagine what is possible. So our company provides a very unique experience of sailing, which allows people to leave their disability on shore and experience freedom and exhilaration while sailing independently or with one of our volunteers or staff members. We started off in 1989 when Sam Sullivan used the Sunbird, which was a sailboat that was British made, and we launched our first few sails at the Jericho Sailing Center on English Bay. And the Jericho Sailing Center is actually where we operate our program still today. So right now we have 8 specially designed Martin 16 sailboats and have approximately over 1,000 sails every summer. Here's just a quick video that kind of gives an overview of what our program is like. Great. So the sailboats that we used at this association is a sailboat called the Martin 16. And the Martin 16 is a sailboat that's designed specifically to be accessible for all people of all abilities. And we have a lot of different equipment that we can put onto the sailboat to allow people to use it, just regardless of how much ability they have. So it allows people who are new to sailing and people who are super experienced, even people who like to race, to go out on the water. So some of the ways that it's adaptable is that we have what's called a keel, which is a very heavy object in the center of our boat that prevents the sailboat from tipping. And we also have a seat that sits directly in the center of the boat for our clients to come in and sit without having to worry about sitting on the edge of the sailboat or tipping over too much. And here's just a quick video that has a bit of a tour of what our Martin 16 looks like.
Sweet. So next, I'm going to talk about some of the special equipment that can be put onto our Martin 16s to make them more accessible. So our first and probably our most impressive part of equipment is called the Sip and Puff. So what the Sip and Puff does is that it's attached to the boat via various electronic and mechanical parts. And what it allows people to do is to steer and control the entirety of the boat using just their mouths. So the sailor here is someone who sails very often with us, and he is tetraplegic and has very limited motion beneath the neck. Usually, in basically any other case, he would not be able to sail, but because of the equipment that we have, because of the Sip and Puff, he's able to control the boat just using his mouth. So he blows in and out and bites to change the setting from steering to pulling in the ropes and letting out the ropes. And so basically he can control the entirety of the boat just using his mouth. And he does so well. He is competitive and he often races. So even just using his mouth, he is a very competitive sailor, which is kind of the beauty of the equipment that we use. Sweet. The next part is the auto helm, which similarly to the Sip and Puff uses a lot of the same equipment and also allows for people to steer the boat with a limited range of motion. So this is for people who may not have a lot of upper body strength or a lot of strength in general. Basically, all they need to be able to do is move one hand to just be able to fully control the boat. So the sails are hooked onto the machine with the little red part on it, which is called the windlass. And that pulls in and lets out the sails, while the rudder at the back of the boat is attached via a mechanical machine. And everything is linked to a little controller, a little joystick that the person just controls with their hand, left to right, forward and back, to steer the boat left and right, port and starboard, and to let the sails in and out. So again, it allows people with maybe more limited range of motion or limited strength to be able to also fully control the boat by themselves and to even race. Sweet. So the next part is the joystick, or steering stick, as we often like to call it. And so this allows people who may have more upper body strength and might want to be a little bit more hands-on and feel the weight of the boat through themselves controlling it. So as Laura noted earlier, the client usually sits in the front of the boat in a specially designed seat. And so what happens is that what we attach is basically a new tiller extension that's connected to the rudder at the back of the boat. And this allows the person to just manually steer it left to right, again, port to starboard, and it's connected to the rudder. So every movement of the stick in the front will translate into actually steering the boat. And often the people will have just the lines in front of them so they can manually pull the sails in and let them out. And that is, of course, if they have the ability to do so. If not, they might want to put the windlass, the thing with the red wheels, to press buttons to let the sails in and out. It really depends on the person, what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and so we also have something called the lift that we use at the Adaptive Sailing Association. So what it is that we take a piece of fabric, which is called the sling, and we just slide it behind the back of somebody who has more limited mobility, so it's harder for them to climb in and out of a sailboat. And we just slide that piece of fabric behind their back and under their legs, and then we hook it onto this machine called the lift. And it easily and very comfortably lifts the client out of their wheelchair and then moves them over into the seat of the sailboat, where they can also sit very comfortably in the adapted seat. So one of the more popular things that we offer at the Adaptive Sailing Association is accompanied sails. So a lot of our sailors who come by just like to, either they're not super experienced in sailing, or they just like to come to enjoy the ride and enjoy the freedom and exhilaration of sailing. So they can come in with no experience, just take a seat in our specially adapted chair, and then we have a staff member or our trained volunteers who sits behind them and sails the boat completely for them on their own. And it just allows our clients to relax and enjoy the sport, and they don't have to worry about actually controlling the sailboat themselves.
And while our accompanied sails might be our most popular one, we also do offer solo sails. So this is for people who are more experienced and, of course, have the desire to want to sail by themselves. So usually they will come in and we will rig the boats in a specific manner for them using any of the previously mentioned equipment. It really depends on the person and what they would like to do. And so we'll rig the boat and they will get here, we'll put them in the boat, and then off they'll go. They'll go sailing by themselves, or as you can see in the photo, sometimes they'll bring a passenger along with them just to enjoy the ride. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a very freeing experience, and we have a lot of longtime sailors who really enjoy sailing by themselves. And of course, some people might begin by doing accompanied sails and might build up their confidence and might get the sailing instructors, such as myself and Laura, to teach them more about sailing. And they will actually get to a point within even one summer where they can actually begin to sail completely by themselves, which is always a very rewarding and fun journey to have. Sweet. And the last main part of the program that we offer is the race club. So the race club is usually for the more veteran and experienced sailors, solo sailors, who have either a competitive edge or just want to hone their skills of sailing. So the races happen roughly every 2 weeks down at Jericho. We have a lot of local regattas that are either hosted by the Jericho Sailing Center Association, which is who hosts us, or sometimes we run the races ourselves. And so you don't need to be an amazing racer to join this, but everyone who does it often has a lot of previous sailing experience and wants to improve and wants to test their skills against other sailors. And one of the amazing parts of this is that the local regattas that happen every couple of weeks can often lead to sailors getting more confident and eventually going to the national regattas, such as the Mobility Cup, which happen every summer, which is, again, another really rewarding journey to be a part of, seeing someone really develop their skills as a racer and then test it on a national level. And the race club is also a very fun social event. All the sailors are good friends, and they often hang out, have a beer after a nice long day of racing, and it's a very fun experience.
All right, so that's it for our presentation. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you come and visit us or even partake in our experience.
Sweet, thank you so much.
All right. Stop my screen sharing. So yeah, we covered both BC Moss and ASA BC. Yeah, if you have any questions, you've got the emails. I'll make sure to get some other links to our tech guys so that we can answer any other questions. Yeah, if there's no questions at this time, I'll hand the floor over to Sasha, but maybe Patrick, you have a question?
Thank you. presentation. It's very interesting. It's good to know that there's organizations out there to help the disabled people get outdoors. I myself have been disabled for the past 2 years, and previously I was always outdoors, and now being disabled, I've been searching for these organizations, so I'm happy to have found 2 more. Unfortunately, you're not on the island. Sorry that I was not there at the beginning of the presentation, so I'm not sure if you had already mentioned that there is a branch here or you come here from time to time. But if you know of any organizations that are on the island that offer the same services, that would be greatly appreciated. I know that there's Lifetime Network that also rent out equipment, hand cycles, and those hiking trail riders. And there's also the RAD Society, or the Recreation Adaptive Society, that has all sorts of equipment. But often they're signed out, or there's no people to help out the disabled members to get out. So yeah, if you do know of any organizations on the island that offer that service and equipment, it would be greatly appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you talked about RAD. I've worked with Tanel a little bit in terms of she's trying to get a trail, or sorry, not a trailer, but adaptive equipment up to Squamish as well. So I'm aware of her. I believe that Power to Be also has a chapter in Victoria. Not 100% sure of that. I just kind of heard that through conversations within my job. So I don't know. I can take your email down, and I can also try and get more stuff to you if that's okay.
And for the scaling, I thought there was a branch here for scaling.
I know Kelowna has a branch, and obviously we do as well. I am not actually aware of a branch in Victoria. I'm just a hiking coordinator, so they send me the video. I can talk about it, but I can totally get you in touch with our sailing program as well, and see what we got for you, Victoria.
Yeah. We have here.
What's that? Sorry.
We have some nice hiking trails on.
Mm-hmm. So maybe you could drop your email in the chat. I don't know if you already. There we go.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
And I do know that I ran the Tech 4 presentation, I believe it was 2 days ago, and it was the Power to Be Society. And so they had a presentation on all the ways that their program kind of operates in the Victoria area. And that will be up on our YouTube channel if you would like to check that out. It was recorded, and I think it should be posted by the end of this week. And they really outline lots of opportunities for hiking in the kind of the greater Victoria area, as well as kayaking. I think what else did they have? I think they use trail riders as well.
I think I've heard that too. Yeah.
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 And I noticed in the chat, Michelle saying that Tofino has adaptive surfing. And other water sports. If you know what the name of the organization, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah, I can totally look into that and ask Michelle. There should adaptive surfing and water sports. Yeah, I can include that in the email that we can send out to you with more info on the various. I think Power to Be was the one that I knew about, and then Simon, if we wanted to like touch base and kind of send a comprehensive like resource pool, that would be awesome.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick. All right. I will go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint for presentation for our next society, which is the Disabled Independent Gardeners Society, aka DIGA. And it'll just take me a second here to pull up. Oh, let me know if you guys are able to see this, and I'll just put it into presenter view. There we go. Is that okay for everyone?
Looks good to me, yeah.
Perfect. All right, I'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Sasha Gordiva, and I am the assistant coordinator in a co-op position for the summer 2021 programs that are offered by the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association, also known as DIGA. Together with my coworkers, Michelle and Victory, who are in this presentation today, we plan and organize accessible gardening opportunities for over 45 active members here in Metro Vancouver. From putting on virtual gardening workshops, coordinating volunteer meetups, amending soil, overseeing vital repairs and installation of drip irrigation, our first priority is to the members that we serve in our community. And just a little bit of history about DIGA. So DIGA was originally established in 1987 by a Vancouver Island resident. Her name was Barbara Rayner, and she's pictured here. Barbara was a longtime sufferer of arthritis, and she found that gardening allowed her to focus on something outside of herself. She noticed that while tending to her plants, she forgot about her disability and just enjoyed her surroundings. And this epiphany kind of birthed the organization, which started with a single plot in her local community garden. Her mission was to help those with disabilities overcome their own barriers and experience the joy of gardening. And in 2003, Sam Sullivan, who Simon mentioned earlier in his presentation, the founder of the Disability Foundation, took over DIGA and brought it to the Lower Mainland, where we are currently active today. So as you can see from this slide, DIGA offers several programs, services, and opportunities for anyone that wants to become more active in their community and experience the many therapeutic benefits that gardening provides. In addition to our kind of major community gardening program, DIGA also offers a variety of both in-person and virtual gardening-related workshops, as well as guided tours and field trips for our members. And previously, these workshops and tours were all held in person, but with the ongoing COVID pandemic, DIGA, like many other organizations, we've kind of adapted our programming to a virtual platform by launching our online gardening series called Growable. And I'll have more info on that a little bit later in the presentation. But our ultimate goal is, of course, to provide inclusive programming for all green thumbs, regardless of experience or personal barriers. We have something for everyone. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, our accessible community gardening program is kind of the core of what DIGA really is. As of 2020, we occupied plots in 7 community gardens around Vancouver. But as of this May, actually, we are excited to announce that renovations at the GF Strawn Rehabilitation Center are near completion, and this courtyard garden will soon officially become our 8th occupied garden. So our program is most active during Vancouver's growing season, which is from May to September. Most of our garden plots are located in city parks with convenient access to bathrooms and transit. The gardens also offer wide pathways, which are usually comprised of materials such as finely packed gravel, which is definitely a more accessible kind of ground material for anyone using a wheelchair or other mobility devices. We also offer at the gardens on-site sheds and water hookups. So kind of the overview for where we're located in terms of these gardens are plots at Pandora Park, Still Creek, GF Strawn Rehabilitation Center, as well as Woodland, Kerrisdale, Maple, Granville Street, and Cottonwood Community Gardens. And of course, we couldn't do this without some help from our affiliate organization, Tetra. So with the help of volunteers and carpenters from Tetra, we were able to build several raised garden beds and tabletop garden beds, which enable members to tend plots a lot more easily from a wheelchair. And in addition to raising the height of our plots, we have also installed drip irrigation systems into each of our plots. These systems are programmed to water daily, which definitely helps avoid multiple trips to the gardens just to water during the hottest days of the season. We also work closely together with both our Tetra partners and members to create custom adapted gardening tools to promote the most independent gardening experience possible for our members. So our member pictured in the bottom left there is using a tool with an extendable handle, which is one of those tools that Tetra is kind of our collaborators in dreaming up and making it happen. And through our volunteer program, we are also able to provide members with extra support should they request it. Volunteers can assist with everything from planting, weeding, and pruning to setting up trellises, staking vegetables, and harvesting crops. And we're really proud to say that through this community garden program, members have the chance to grow their own healthy produce while being a part of an inclusive, social, and diverse community of gardeners. And the next slide here, I'll actually just stop my share and open up a new window super quick, but I've got a video that will kind of let you guys hear all about what our programs, are all about from members themselves. So let me just take a moment and open that up. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to press play, but do let me know if the sound isn't working and I will troubleshoot. Sorry, not sure what's going on here. One sec.
Hi, I'm I've been gardening at Digga for 3 years. I gardened as a child with a victory garden during World War II, and I've been a gardener all my life, but my physical condition has deteriorated. I no longer can get up off the ground, so I can't do any kind of traditional gardening anymore.
To get out there and to enjoy the natural process, to break away from the urban life we lead here in Vancouver. Digga has given us a great opportunity to do this that we wouldn't otherwise have.
Digga provides raised beds so that I can garden from a sitting position, and an irrigation system so I don't have to worry about the plants thriving, and I can simply concentrate on the fun part of gardening, which is the planting, the harvest.
The coordinator for the disabled gardeners said that the gardeners were not able to get out here every single day, and in the summer the plants needed watering every day. So I figured the easiest way to solve that problem was to install an automatic timer on the standpipe that comes up from the city water supply and the associated watering system. So you set the timer to water every day for 15 minutes, and it does that.
Well, what does enter into it is the satisfaction of eating what you planted, and also the fact that you've got fresh produce. That's hard to beat.
And then the coordinator for the disabled gardeners said, oh yeah, well, we have another problem, and that is the plywood was rotting and was soft and in danger of collapsing. So we said we could make some new beds. And the only difference was we made it out of lumber instead of plywood, because the plywood gets wet and it loses a little bit of its strength when it gets wet. So plywood is just inherently weaker than lumber.
I'm really grateful to Tetra and Digga and George. It makes possible something I could not do anymore at all on my own, and it's a real upper of an experience.
Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that video and kind of hearing from the members themselves what the program means to them, and getting to see some of that drip irrigation and the raised beds in action. So I'll just get right back to the rest of the PowerPoint. And just be one moment for me to get the slideshow up again. Perfect. All right, so now I'll just jump right back in and talk a little bit about how Digga adapted to gardening during the pandemic. So last year, during the first wave of the COVID pandemic, we were fortunate enough that our provincial health officer, Bonnie Henry, declared all community gardens to be an essential service back in April 2020, and our summer programs were able to continue. Of course, we enforced a mandatory mask policy and maintained physical distance, and Digga volunteers were able to continue providing one-on-one support to our members as they tended to their community plots, which gave both our members and volunteers a chance to socially connect with each other and those around them in a safe and open-air environment. Unfortunately, as the pandemic limited social gatherings throughout the year, our in-person workshops too had to be discontinued. But like other organizations, we eventually were able to shift to a virtual delivery system, which we called Growable, our online gardening workshops. So Growable workshops encourage you to bloom where you're planted, kind of a fun catchphrase that Michelle has come up with. And we feature free bi-weekly workshops that have that feature various gardening experts as they discuss seasonal topics in a Zoom presentation. Workshops in the series have included topics such as guerrilla gardening, herb gardening, horticultural therapy, and so much more. The benefit of going virtual is that now we can impact even more people, including those living outside the Lower Mainland and across Canada. We plan to keep this program going even after the public health risks have subsided, just because of that immense reach that the virtual platform is able to give us. And if you're interested in viewing our previous Growable presentations, you can check out our playlist on the Disability Foundation YouTube channel. Anyone is welcome to attend those workshops. And if you want to attend an upcoming workshop, visit our website to register. We also welcome anyone who has a passion for gardening, nature, or anything in between to share their knowledge with our members through a Zoom workshop. So if facilitating a workshop sounds like something that you're interested in, but maybe you're unsure on how to go about turning your passion into a presentation, you can always ask us and we can help you turn your workshop dreams into reality. And on to our next program that wanted to talk about today, the at-home gardening program. So navigating the pandemic this past year and a half has definitely proven how essential our programs are to a lot of people, but it has also shone a light on those with compromised immunities. So from this came our latest innovation in accessible gardening, which is our mobile raised self-watering planter. This planter is set to be the cornerstone of our new home gardening program, which is set to officially launch early next spring to our members here in the Lower Mainland. These photos show what our planter prototype currently looks like. And the top photo captures one of Tetra's builders assisting one of our Digga members with a prototype. This program aims to reach those with limited access to our in-person programs or those who don't have an accessible home gardening space of their own. So the current prototype kind of allows for a variety of herbs, flowers, and veggies to be grown on a deck or a patio. And what's really cool about this is that the self-watering system actually introduces water from below the soil layer, and it absorbs through this layer via capillary action. This method works to conserve water and ensures that the moisture stays where it's needed the most, at the roots. The program also provides one-on-one support and home delivery. We hope to eventually make this program accessible for those outside of the Lower Mainland and potentially across Canada as well. And another project that's currently in the works for DIGA, perhaps our largest endeavor to date, to build a fully accessible member-run greenhouse. Naturally, engagement with members slows down in the winter as the growing season comes to an end. But with a greenhouse, DIGA has the hopes that this would significantly extend the growing season and allow our members to continue to actively garden into the fall and winter months. For many of our members, gardening plays a key role in maintaining both physical and mental well-being. We think that having a greenhouse will also allow DIGA to promote food security and give back to the community by donating our harvests to local food banks and other related charities. In addition to generating a more dynamic gardening program, we're also hoping to provide educational opportunities by providing things like on-site tours and hands-on workshops to local schools and clubs. So wrapping the presentation up, I just wanted to take a moment to speak about how you can get involved. DIGA and the Disability Foundation are always looking for ways to expand our programming, and you can help. If you live in the Lower Mainland, consider volunteering with our members in the community gardens or even hosting a workshop. With the roadshows this year, we're seeing tons of possibilities for gardeners all over the province to get involved with DIGA and participate in accessible gardening. If starting your own chapter of DIGA in your community sounds like something that you'd love to be a part of, let us know. You can reach out to us over social media or over email through our website. Just my final slide here, a little bit of a plug for our social media channels. You can find us through the Disability Foundation's Twitter profile or at our own Facebook and Instagram pages. We share a huge variety of content from updates on our various community garden plots, member and volunteer profile stories, weekly gardening tips and tricks, and so much more. Regardless of your gardening experience or knowledge, there's always something for everyone. And I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much for listening and joining us at the Roadshow today. Really hope that we can see you again, whether that be through attending a Growable workshop, checking out our social media updates, or even by joining us out in the gardens. We hope that you're as excited as we are to watch DIGA grow. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks, Victory. Awesome. With that, I think that wraps up the Go Play Outside presentations for today. If anyone has any questions. Oh, yes, Patrick.
With regards to garden, you mentioned that there's a drip system installed. Is that all gardens, all 8 locations? Because what I find the hardest is dragging the hose when you're disabled to your garden. And the other issue that I have is accessing the site. Yes, some of them are close to transit, but for those that are the drive, and then there's no curb to roll up, and then there's no pathway to get to the garden.
Totally, yeah. And that's definitely a key focus for us as well. All of our gardens are accessible via transit, and we're kind of actively making that a focus for any new plots that we acquire as well, whether or not they're close to active transit lines or the SkyTrain. And as well, we are currently looking into making a few of our gardens even more accessible through, it's a product called Access Tracks, and it's kind of like a mat or like a series of mats that can make mobility around surfaces such as, I know they use them on beaches currently, but a few of our gardens have a little bit of a looser gravel floor. And so securing this would definitely help with just making them as accessible as possible. And we're currently looking into getting a set for each garden. And as well, for in terms of the drip irrigation, that's something that I know Diga is super proud to kind of have in every plot. Every member that requests it, we provide a drip irrigation system to them. And basically how it works is it's the hose is hooked up to the main garden's water supply. And a timer is set to water however often the member wants. Usually it's like 15 minutes twice a day, or sometimes gardeners prefer like a little bit of a longer watering period, so we can totally make that happen. And then it's connected to the timer, and then drip line is kind of laid out in the plot. Kind of, it can be like in lines or snaking around where all the plants are kind of located within the plot. And then the water just comes out at the set time, and it's like a very gentle watering. So the drip line runs for however long the timer has set it for. Yeah, and that's kind of the logistics of the drip irrigation system. But it's definitely been, I know our members have given us great feedback on how it's helped in their own gardening experience, and just saves time as well. It's super great.
Are these plots the same as the other community gardens? I've seen a few of them around, but I haven't seen these specific ones.
Yeah. So it definitely depends on which community garden the plot is at. Most of them, all of our plots are raised beds. A few of them are tabletop beds, which are constructed specifically by Tetra, and that is kind of different from a raised bed in that it's more of like a four legs and then a table rather than like just a raised planter style. And it definitely does depend on which garden, which location the plot is at. Most of our beds are kind of, the raised beds are usually kind of aligned with the design of the rest of the beds at the garden. And then the tabletop beds are usually built specifically for the garden space by Tetra volunteers.
Yeah. The reason why I was asking is I had tried to apply for a box at one of these community gardens, and I was told that there's a waiting list for have access to a box.
Yeah. Which may I ask which garden you were looking into getting a plot?
This was on the corner of, I believe, Alma and West Broadway.
Okay, so that actually isn't one of Diga's gardens. I do know which garden that is, though. I live really close to it.
Separate gardens, or it's just certain boxes within the community garden?
It's certain boxes or certain beds within the community garden. So usually we have around 1 to 2 beds in whichever location we are operating at, but we don't currently have like a Diga designated garden.
What's the process to apply for one of these dedicated beds?
Yeah, so you can reach out to I believe there is a contact form on our website, or that should be in the works for the future, of like a form that you can fill out to get placed on our waiting list. Or I will plug my email in the chat here, and you can shoot an email for whichever location you're interested in. If you wanted to take a look at the various addresses, I think the closest to the Alma and Broadway location would probably be the Granville Street temporary garden. So if you're interested, I would love to hear from you, and we can kind of I'll talk to, I know Michelle who was in this presentation earlier, knows a lot about the logistics of getting a bed allocated. So we can, we can kind of get the ball rolling on that if that's something that you're interested in.
Thank you.
Of course. And I'll just plug my email there.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening and for coming to the presentation today. And I'm really excited to hear that you're interested in potentially joining DIGA. Perfect. And I think with that, we are all wrapped up. Let me just go on to I'm not sure, has the live stream, the live stream is still on. I'll turn that off super quick.